Hey everybody, Justin here with Eco Diesel again. I've been waiting to kind of do this video for a while, and I wanted to share this. It's been some news I've been kind of working on for almost at least 10 years, at least a decade. So anyway, um, I've been gotten with comp cams. There's been some stuff that over the years, like I said, the last 20 years, we've pretty much had the same camshaft profiles. They haven't changed a whole lot. There's a lot of guys that are running them, and there's like different manufacturers of different cams. So we were able to come up with something with comp, and I happened to I've been working on it for probably the last year to, well, actually 4 or 5 years. So we were able to solidify this. So we've got our Eco Diesel Dynamics has got their own cam line. We've got four different options at this moment. We call it 1.0, 1.5, 2.0, and 2.5. And basically the names on them is, like I say, here's some of the specs, but the 1.0 is the EDD mover, 1.5 is EDD shaker, 2.0 is EDD bruiser, and 2.5 is EDD puller. If you see on these specs, like I say, a lot of it's a duration. And then we didn't get crazy with the lift. And I'm going to go back to this, lobe separation angle has changed quite a bit. And then how much we had, ground into the advancement into the cam already. So it's got a little bit of advancement already built into the cam. And the factory ratio is like a 1.58, but it's actually a 1.6 more rounded out. But we've been working on this for quite some time, and we finally pulled this off. So this is the camshaft that we had, and this is a regrind. So to put this out there, we can regrind these on a stock cam and profile as long as we got a good core. So some of the pricing is going to come back to this. Probably going to be looking at between $450 and $550 for a good cam core regrind. And we improvise where comp has been doing the micro polishing on the end of, basically the last step of the process. Well, when these get to comp, they go through pretty much a receiver, then the shop foreman, and then it gets made into a work order, and then it goes to the cam grinding shop, and then it's basically, so after it's all said and done from the beginning to end, there's like 6 to 8 people's hands that get to touch this thing. So this one here, Cam, this is basically our, it was a bruiser, which is a 2.0, and it is basically got a 189 intake duration, 196 exhaust duration, and a 440 lift, and then it's got a 107.5 lobe separation. A lot of folks don't know what some of that means, but duration is how many in 360 degrees of the crankshaft and how it opens and closes the valves. A lot of these camshafts, we've improvised it, or not really improvised it, we just designed it to where we can get away with having to do valve pockets. Like I say, anything, you need to still check it. If you get, over 38 thousandths, 35 to 38 thousandths, the window on most of the stock stuff is 35 to 36 thousandths piston protrusion. When guys deck the block, a lot of times you can be close to 38. You're still safe. We get past that, and then there's a problem. Obviously got to run maybe a different head gasket, like what you guys have seen in some of my videos. The Cometic stuff for MLX that I had, or a Cometic make basically 10 years ago for me. But you need to still check piston protrusion. If it needs a valve pocket, it needs a valve pocket. But the way these cams are designed, we moved the low profile on the exhaust, and we basically took it to where it is not going to be into valve timing, where we have to worry about it as much hitting the piston and having to have a valve pocket. So saving some money there, not having to do valve pockets. I know the process that we do. If we do D-lip or valve pockets, it's the same price. It's just the way it kind of structured with the CNC shop that does all my work for me and stuff. He don't charge me any extra. It's just how I've got it set up. So if we do D-lip, it's this price. Do D-lip and valve pockets, it's this price. It's not changing. So, but these camshafts, like I say, we should be roughly in between the 450, 550 range. We'll need a good cam core, not something that's damaged, rusty, all that good stuff. And we've actually took this when we took it over to comp, and Chris Potter and Billy Godbold is one that kind of helped me on this more. Chris Potter, we actually took and cut a stock cam that was bad. We cut it on the intake lobe and exhaust lobe, and we checked the hardness on it. And up to a 2.5, there's plenty of hardness in the cam yet, even stock basically profile. So this is a stock profile cam that's been ground and then been micro polished. Well, the hardness of it has been checked. So when we grind it and how we grind the profile of it, it is going to leave us with a bunch of hardness, and we don't have to worry about rehardening the camshaft. There's more than enough on here to be safe. We get past, like, we got an options for a 3.0 we're working on and a 3.5, which that's when we're going to get into a billet cam. It's going to be a lot more money. I see guys, they're selling billet cams. I don't know what cores they're using, and like it matters, but the profiles of their camshafts are 20 years old. They've done some changes on them, not saying all of them, but this is where we've catered to getting rid of is following the same protocol for the last 2 decades. I just improvised it, worked with Chris, and a lot of good other folks here. Basically, one other person that there are two other people actually. Andrew Arthur at AA Design and Performance Tuning, which he does a bunch of hydro tuning and stuff like that. He's got an Instagram page. He's on Facebook, and he's a big help with this happening. And then Eric Wayne Rowe with Rowe Synthetics is also the other person that helped a bunch with getting this to happen. So we've improvised all this together. I finally pulled it off, and wanted to show these folks, y'all what we've got. It's just like I say, I've been holding out on this. I've got two motors here. One motor's going to run a 238-100, or one other one's going to run a 250-100. One's got a 369 turbo on it, and I think the other one's getting a 467, I believe, on it, or he might be going smaller. I can't remember exactly how he's doing his build. But these two, I got two cams, and they're the basically 2.0 ones, and they're going to be installed in both these customer motor. One's more of a plow truck, one's more of a local truck, and pretty much, I guess, the one motor's going to give me a bunch of feedback on it, stuff like that. But we've changed the profiles. We've made the ramps a lot different. We don't have to go as bigger is not always better. So we don't have the big lift like we need. The way the cam is like a packing cam. It's a lot more efficient. It's a lot more getting the intake in, getting exhaust out, keeping the drive pressure up on the turbo, helping with low boost spooling. We took in I would call it the EGR or EPA hump that are profiling the camshaft from when these motors were built back in the 90s and designed. And then obviously got 99. The cams changed because it went to Super Duty from an OBS, which was different turbo. Some had intercoolers off, et cetera, et cetera. But wanted everybody to share this information. So if you get a chance, I'm going to cross post this on Instagram, YouTube. It's going to be on TikTok. So, and please do, like, share, subscribe, check it out, share it. But we should have these on the website. I'm hoping basically before the end of this month, but it's probably going to be next month before I get this done. I got so much going on and trying to get the website stuff going, and basically a lot of it's me, and my wife is actually helping edit and doing all this stuff, and then we've got a marketing company that actually helps us with the finer tuning of it and stuff. But I wanted to let everybody know, and I appreciate everybody sharing, liking, all the support over these years. A lot of customers, a lot of people. I'm very happy with all my customers and how things have been going, but I don't want to get this drug out too much longer. But EDD or Eco Diesel Dynamics, we have our own 7.3 cam line now, and I hope everybody has a good day and a good night, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Thanks.